Imagine walking into a small grocery store in a quiet American town. You hear people talking. You understand a few words, but not everything. Your heart beats a little faster. You want to speak, but your mind freezes. Now imagine something different. Imagine you walk into that same store, smile, and say clearly, "Hi, how are you?" And the other person smiles back. The conversation begins. That moment changes everything. This documentary is about that moment, not grammar, not rules, but real conversations. The kind that build confidence, one sentence at a time. English is not just a subject. It is a bridge. It connects a farmer in a rural area to a student in a city. It connects a worker, a dreamer, a traveler. And the truth is, you don't need perfect English to start. You only need courage and the right sentences. In this journey, you will not memorize difficult words. You will live real conversations. You will feel them. You will speak them. Let's begin with the simplest human connection: greeting someone. In real life, conversations don't start with long speeches. They start small, natural, easy. A simple hi can open a door you never expected. Picture this. You see your neighbor in the morning. You don't need a big sentence. You just say, "Good morning." That's it. And they reply, "Good morning." Then you add a small question, "How are you?" This question is powerful. It shows respect. It builds connection. And the most common answer you will hear is, "I'm good. How about you?" Now you reply, "I'm good too." This is your first real conversation. Let's slow it down and feel it. You say, "Hi." The other person says, "Hi." You say, "How are you?" They say, "I'm fine." You say, "That's great." This is not just practice. This is real life. You are already speaking English. Many learners make one mistake. They wait to be perfect. But real conversations are not perfect. Even native speakers make mistakes. What matters is flow, not perfection. When you speak, focus on meaning, not fear. Now let's step into a small shop. You walk in. You see the shopkeeper. You say, "Hello." The shopkeeper replies, "Hello." You look around and ask, "Do you have water?" Simple, clear, real. The shopkeeper says, "Yes, over there." You say, "Thank you." This is a complete conversation. Feel the rhythm. Do you have? This is a powerful pattern. You can use it anywhere. Do you have milk? Do you have bread? Do you have a pen? With one sentence pattern, you unlock hundreds of conversations. Now imagine the shopkeeper asks you something. Anything else? At first, you may feel nervous, but you already know the answer. You can say, "No, that's all." Or you can say, "Yes, I also need sugar." You are building confidence, step by step. Let's go deeper into real life. Imagine you meet someone new, maybe at school, maybe at work. You say, "Hi, my name is John." Now the other person says, "Hi, I'm Alex." This is how relationships begin. Simple introductions. Now you add one more layer. "Nice to meet you." This sentence is magic. It shows respect and warmth. The other person replies, "Nice to meet you too." You just created a connection. You can continue. "Where are you from?" This question opens stories. The other person says, "I'm from Texas." You reply, "That's nice." Or, "I'm from California." These are not just sentences. These are bridges between people. Now let's talk about listening. Many learners focus only on speaking, but conversation is two-way. When someone speaks, listen carefully. You don't need to understand every word. Catch the key idea. If you don't understand, don't panic. Just say, "Sorry," or "Can you repeat that?" Native speakers use these sentences too. This is normal. This is real. Confidence does not come from knowing everything. It comes from continuing even when you don't understand everything. Let's step into a daily situation. You are at a bus stop. You ask someone, "Is this the bus to downtown?" They say, "Yes, it is." Or, "No, you need the next one." You say, "Thank you." This is practical English. This is survival English. Notice how short the sentences are. Real conversations are not long paragraphs. They are small, meaningful exchanges. This is why you can learn faster than you think. Now imagine you are ordering food. You say, "I'd like a sandwich." The person asks, "What kind?" You say, "Chicken, please." They ask, "Anything to drink?" You say, "Yes, a soda." This is real-life English in action. Every time you speak, your fear becomes smaller. Every time you try, your confidence becomes stronger. English is not something you study once. It is something you live every day. Let's talk about mistakes. You will make them. That's not a problem. The real problem is silence. If you don't speak, you don't grow. If you speak, even with mistakes, you improve. Think of a child learning to speak. They don't wait. They try. They fail. They try again. That is the mindset you need. Now let's build a slightly longer conversation. You meet someone. You say, "Hi, how are you?" They say, "I'm good." You say, "What do you do?" They say, "I'm a student." You say, "That's great." This is natural. This is real. You can also say, "What are you doing today?" They might say, "I'm going to work." You can reply, "Have a good day." This is everyday English. These small conversations may feel simple, but they are powerful. They build fluency slowly and naturally. Now pause and imagine your future. You are speaking English without fear. You are talking to people. You are expressing your ideas. That future is not far. It starts with these small steps. Consistency is your biggest strength. Speak a little every day, even if it's just 2 sentences, even if it's just talking to yourself. Practice in real situations, at a shop, on the street, with friends. Real life is your classroom. Remember, English is not about sounding perfect. It is about being understood. If people understand you, you are already successful. You don't need big words. You need clear words, simple words, honest words. Right now, you have a choice. You can close this and forget it, or you can take one small step today. Say hi to someone. Ask, "How are you?" Start one conversation. That one moment can change your life. Your journey to English fluency does not begin tomorrow. It begins now. Speak, try, grow, and remember. Every fluent speaker was once a beginner who decided not to stay silent. Now the journey moves forward. You are no longer just greeting people. You are stepping into longer conversations. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. Your mind may search for words. But this is the moment where real growth begins. Not when it feels easy, but when you choose to continue anyway. Imagine you are sitting in a small cafe. Someone sits next to you. There is silence. Then you decide to speak. You say, "Hi, is this seat taken?" The person smiles and says, "No, go ahead." You sit down and say, "Thank you." A simple interaction, but it breaks fear. Now you take one more step. You say, "It's a nice place, right?" The other person replies, "Yeah, I come here often." Now the conversation is alive. You didn't use complex English. You used natural English. Let's understand something important. Conversations grow step by step. First, a greeting, then a comment, then a question. This pattern works everywhere. If you follow this, you will never feel stuck. For example, you say, "This weather is nice." That's a comment. Then you ask, Do you like this kind of weather? That's a question. The other person responds. Now you are in a real conversation. You can use this pattern in school, at work, on the street, or even online. This is how real English flows. Now let's move into a common daily situation. Asking for help. Many learners feel shy here, but in real life, asking for help is normal. You can say, "Excuse me, can you help me?" This sentence is powerful. Imagine you are in a new place. You ask, "Excuse me, where is the nearest bank?" The person replies, "Go straight and turn left." You say, "Thank you so much." That's it. You handled a real situation. Notice your confidence growing. Each conversation is like a small victory. You are not the same person who was afraid to speak. Now let's go deeper into emotional connection. Real conversations are not only about information. They are about feelings. You can say, "I'm a little nervous today." The other person might say, "That's okay, I understand." This creates trust. When you express simple feelings, people connect with you more. You don't need big vocabulary. Just say what you feel in simple words. You can say, "I'm happy today." "I'm tired." "I'm excited." These are real, human sentences. Let's build a real-life dialogue in a workplace setting. You walk into a new job. You see your coworker. You say, "Hi, I'm new here." They say, "Welcome." You say, "Thank you, I'm excited to start." Now they ask, "Where did you work before?" You reply, "I worked at a small shop." This is simple, clear communication. Then you can ask, "Can you show me how this works?" This is how you learn while communicating. This is real-life English growth. Let's talk about confidence again. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build through action. Every time you speak, even a little, you are training your mind. Fear will still come. That's normal. But now, you know how to respond. You don't stop. You speak anyway. This is the difference between someone who learns English and someone who actually uses it. Now imagine a phone conversation. This is harder because you cannot see the person. You call and say, "Hello, may I speak to John?" The other person says, "Speaking." You say, "Hi, John, this is Alex." At first, phone conversations feel difficult. But if you keep your sentences short and clear, you will manage easily. You can say, "I'm calling about the meeting," or "I just wanted to check something." These are common, real-life phrases. Let's move into a social situation. You are at a small gathering. You don't know many people. You walk up and say, "Hi, I don't think we've met." The other person smiles and says, "Yeah, I'm Sarah." You say, "Nice to meet you, Sarah." Then you ask, "How do you know the host?" This keeps the conversation going naturally. You are no longer silent. You are part of the conversation. Now let's pause and reflect. Think about where you started. Maybe you were afraid to say even "hi." And now you are building conversations. This is real progress. Growth in English is not fast, but it is powerful. Every day you improve, even if you don't notice it immediately. Trust the process. Speak daily. Listen carefully. Repeat what you hear. This is how fluency grows. Let's go into a slightly deeper dialogue. You meet someone and say, "What do you like to do in your free time?" They say, "I like watching movies." You reply, "That's nice. What kind of movies?" Now the conversation becomes interesting. It moves from basic to personal. This is how friendships start. You can share too. "I like music. I enjoy traveling." Simple sentences, real connection. Now let's address a common fear. What if someone speaks too fast? You don't understand. Don't panic, just say, "Can you speak a little slower?" This is completely normal. Or you can say, "I'm still learning English." Most people will understand and help you. Remember, communication is not a test, it is a connection. Let's build one more real-life situation. You are at a doctor's office. You say, "I don't feel well." The doctor asks, "What's wrong?" You say, "I have a headache." You don't need perfect grammar, you need clear meaning, and you already have that ability. English becomes easier when you focus on real situations, not just rules. Now imagine your future again. You are traveling. You are talking to people from different places. You are confident. You are comfortable. That future is being built right now. Every sentence you speak today is shaping that future. You are not just learning English. You are building a new version of yourself. There will be days when you feel slow, days when words don't come easily. That's okay. Progress is not always visible, but it is always happening if you keep going. Don't compare yourself to others. Focus on your journey, your pace, your growth. Small steps every day lead to big change. Now take a deep mental note. English is not outside you. It is becoming a part of you. Every conversation, every word, every effort is shaping your voice. And your voice matters. Your story matters. Your words matter. So today, take another step. Start one more conversation. Ask one more question. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. Speak even if your voice shakes. Because one day, that same voice will speak with confidence, clarity, and power. And when that day comes, you will remember this moment. The moment you decided to continue. Now something begins to change inside you. The words are not just sounds anymore. They are becoming your tools, your voice, your identity. You are not just repeating sentences now. You are starting to think in English, even if it's only for a few seconds at a time. Imagine waking up in the morning and saying to yourself, "Today is going to be a good day." This is not practice. This is transformation. When you begin to speak English in your daily thoughts, your learning becomes natural. Let's step into a new real-life situation. You are at a train station. It's busy. People are moving fast. You walk to the counter and say, "Hi, I'd like a ticket to New York." The person asks, "One way or round trip?" You pause for a second, then say, "One way." That pause is not weakness. That pause is growth. In real conversations, pauses are normal. Even native speakers pause. They think. They choose words. So don't rush. Speak clearly, even if it's slow. Now the person at the counter says, "That will be $20. You respond, "Here you go." Then they say, "Have a nice trip." You smile and say, "Thank you." This is not just a transaction. This is confidence in action. Each real-world interaction is a lesson you will never forget. Books can guide you, but life teaches you. Now let's move into a deeper conversation. You meet someone again, not for the first time. You say, "Hey, good to see you again." This sentence shows familiarity. It shows connection. They reply, "Good to see you too." Then you ask, "How have you been?" This question is slightly deeper than, "How are you?" It invites a longer answer. They might say, "I've been busy with work." Now you respond, "That sounds tough." You are not just speaking, you are understanding. Let's talk about reactions. Good conversations are not only about questions, they are about reactions. When someone says something, you respond naturally. If they say, "I got a new job," you say, "That's amazing." If they say, "I'm feeling tired," you say, "I understand." These small reactions make conversations real. You don't need advanced vocabulary. You need genuine responses. Now imagine you are in a classroom. The teacher asks, "Do you have any questions?" Many students stay silent, but you raise your hand and say, "Can you explain that again?" This is confidence. You are not afraid to ask. You are not afraid to learn. This is how fluency grows faster than you expect. Every question you ask removes one layer of confusion. Let's step into a real-life problem situation. You ordered food, but something is wrong. You say, "Excuse me, I think there's a mistake." The staff says, "I'm sorry, what's the problem?" You reply, "I ordered chicken, but this is beef." You stayed calm. You explained clearly. This is effective communication. Real English is not about perfect grammar. It is about solving real problems with simple words. Now let's go deeper emotionally. Imagine talking to a friend. You say, "I feel a little stressed." They ask, "Why?" You say, "I have a lot of work." This is real conversation, honest, simple, human. And when they say, "You'll be okay," you feel understood. That's the power of language. Now let's build a longer flowing conversation. You meet someone and say, "What are your plans for the weekend?" They say, "I'm going to visit my family." You respond, "That sounds nice. Where do they live?" They say, "They live in a small town." You reply, "I like small towns. They're peaceful." Now the conversation is alive and natural. You are no longer just answering. You are connecting ideas. Let's pause again. You have now crossed a major point. You are not just a beginner anymore. You are becoming a speaker, a communicator. And this journey is not about speed. It is about consistency and courage. Every time you speak, you are proving to yourself that you can do it. Now let's talk about thinking in English again. Start small. Look at something and name it. This is a chair. This is my phone. Then build a sentence. I am using my phone. This simple habit will change your fluency faster than anything else. Because language grows when it becomes part of your daily thinking. Now imagine you are helping someone. They ask, "Can you help me with this?" You say, "Sure." Then you explain something in simple English. Teaching others makes your English stronger. When you use English to help, it becomes meaningful, and meaningful learning stays longer. Let's move into a slightly challenging situation. Someone asks you an unexpected question. You don't know the answer immediately. That's okay. You can say, "Let me think." This gives you time. Or you can say, "I'm not sure, but I think." This keeps the conversation going. Fluency is not about always knowing. It is about continuing. Now imagine you are telling a short story. You say, "Yesterday I went to the market. I bought some fruits. Then I met a friend." This is simple storytelling. Stories make your English powerful. They make people listen. And every story you tell builds your confidence. Now feel this moment. You are speaking more. You are understanding more. You are growing. The fear that once stopped you is slowly disappearing. And in its place, confidence is rising. There is one truth you must remember. Fluency is not a destination. It is a journey. You keep improving, step by step, and every step matters. So keep going. Speak again today. Even if it's just one conversation, even if it's just one sentence, because one sentence leads to another, and another. And one day, you will speak without thinking, without fear, without hesitation. That day is coming. But only if you continue now. Your voice is waiting. Use it. Now you are entering a new phase. You're no longer just responding to conversations. You're starting them. This is a powerful shift. Starting a conversation means you are in control. You are choosing to connect. Imagine walking into a workplace break room. A few people are sitting quietly. Instead of staying silent, you say, "Hey everyone, how's your day going?" Some may smile. Someone may answer, "Pretty good." That one sentence changes your position. You are no longer invisible. Starting conversations is not about being perfect. It's about being present, being open, being willing to speak. Now let's explore deeper everyday conversations. You are talking to a coworker. You say, "What are you working on today?" They reply, "I'm finishing a report." You say, "That sounds important." This is how professional conversations grow. Simple, respectful, and clear. You can also say, "Let me know if you need help." This shows confidence and teamwork. Now imagine a situation where you don't agree with someone. Many learners feel nervous here. But disagreement is part of real communication. You can say, "I see your point, but I think differently." This is polite and natural. Or you can say, "That's interesting, but I have another idea." This keeps the conversation respectful. Now let's move into giving opinions. Someone asks, "What do you think about this movie?" You can say, "I think it's really good," or "I didn't like it very much." Your opinion matters. Don't hide it because of language fear. Speaking your thoughts clearly is a big step toward fluency. Now imagine you are in a store returning an item. You say, "Hi, I'd like to return this." The staff asks, "Do you have the receipt?" You reply, "Yes, here it is." They ask, "What's the reason?" You say, "It doesn't fit." Clear, simple, effective. You handled a real situation with confidence. Now let's talk about small talk. Small talk is everywhere in English-speaking environments. It may seem unimportant, but it builds connections. You can say, "It's really busy today," or "The traffic was crazy this morning." These are natural conversation starters. Small talk is not about deep meaning. It is about comfort and connection. Now imagine you are talking to someone you see regularly. You say, "How's everything going?" They say, "Pretty good." You follow up with, "Anything new?" This keeps the conversation alive. It shows interest. Good conversations are built on curiosity. Now let's step into a slightly emotional conversation. A friend says, "I had a bad day." You respond, "I'm sorry to hear that." Then you ask, "What happened?" You listen. You respond. You connect. This is where language becomes more than words. It becomes support. Now imagine you are giving directions. Someone asks, "How do I get to the station?" You say, "Go straight, then turn right." Keep it simple. Clear instructions are more important than complex sentences. When you speak clearly, people trust your words. Now let's go into planning. You say to a friend, "Do you want to meet this weekend?" They say, "Sure." You ask, "What time works for you?" They reply, "Maybe in the evening." You say, "That sounds good." This is natural planning. You are now using English to organize your life. Now imagine a moment of misunderstanding. Someone says something, and you don't understand fully. You can say, "Do you mean?" and repeat what you think. This shows effort and keeps the conversation clear. Misunderstandings are normal. Handling them is a skill. Now let's talk about confidence in groups. Speaking in a group can feel difficult, but you can start small. Just one sentence. You can say, "I agree with that," or "I have a question." Even a small contribution builds your confidence. Now imagine you are sharing your experience. You say, last week I started learning something new. People listen. When you share your story, your English becomes meaningful. And meaningful communication is powerful. Let's pause again. You are now handling greetings, questions, opinions, emotions, and even disagreements. This is no longer basic learning. This is real-life fluency in progress. And the best part is, you built it step by step. Now let's talk about consistency again. Even now, practice matters. Speak every day. Listen every day. Watch how people speak. Notice their tone, their expressions. Language is not just words. It is rhythm, emotion, and connection. Now imagine your future self again. You walk into any place. You speak without fear. You understand without stress. That version of you is being created right now. Every lesson, every sentence, every effort is building that future. There is one final mindset shift you need. Stop thinking, I am learning English. Start thinking, I am using English. This small change will transform your confidence because you are not preparing anymore. You are doing. And remember, fluency is not about speaking fast. It is about speaking clearly, comfortably, and confidently. Take your time. Choose your words. Speak with purpose. You have come far, but the journey continues. There is always more to learn, more to experience, more to express. So step forward again. Start conversations. Share your thoughts. Ask questions. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Grow from them. Because your voice deserves to be heard, and the world is ready to listen. Keep going, because now you are not just learning English. You are living it. Now you arrive at the final stage of this journey, but not the end. Because real fluency has no finish line. It continues as long as you keep speaking, listening, and living in the language. What has changed is not just your English. It is your mindset. At the beginning, you were searching for words. Now, words are coming to you. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not always fast. But they are coming. And that is real progress. Let's step into a deeper, real-life conversation. You are sitting with someone, and the conversation flows naturally. You say, you know, when I first started learning English, I was really nervous. The other person listens. You continue, but now I feel more comfortable speaking. This is reflection. This is growth. Now the other person asks, what helped you improve? You pause for a moment and say, I practiced every day, even when it was difficult. This is not just a sentence. This is your story. And when you share your journey, your English becomes powerful because it is real. It is yours. This is the level where language becomes a part of your identity. Now imagine a more complex situation. You are in a discussion. Someone says, I think learning English is very hard. You respond, it can be challenging, but I believe it becomes easier with practice. This is balanced communication. You are expressing your opinion clearly and respectfully. You are not just reacting, you are contributing. Now let's go into storytelling again, but deeper. You say, last year, I couldn't speak English confidently. I was afraid of making mistakes. But I decided to change that. I started speaking a little every day. You continue. At first, it was uncomfortable. But slowly, I improved. And now, I can have real conversations. This is transformation through language. Stories like this inspire others, and they remind you how far you've come. Now imagine helping another learner. They say, I'm scared to speak. You smile and say, I felt the same way. But you just need to start small. You guide them. You encourage them. And in doing that, you strengthen your own confidence. Teaching is one of the highest forms of learning. Let's move into understanding tone and emotion. The same sentence can feel different depending on how you say it. If you say, "That's interesting," with curiosity, it invites more conversation. If you say it with no emotion, it may stop the conversation. So feel your words. Let your voice carry meaning. Now imagine a long, natural conversation. You are talking about your day. You say, "Today was busy, but I learned something new." The other person asks, "What did you learn?" You explain. You ask them, "How was your day?" They share. You listen. You respond. This is real communication. This is fluency, not perfection. Flow. Now let's talk about silence again. Earlier, silence was fear. Now silence is just a pause. A moment to think. You are no longer afraid of it. You use it. This is confidence. Now imagine speaking in front of a small group. Your heart beats fast. But you begin, "Hi everyone, I'd like to share something." Your voice may shake, but you continue. And as you speak, something changes. The fear fades. The words come. Because you have practiced. You have lived the language. Now let's reflect on your transformation. You started with simple greetings, then questions, then conversations, then emotions, then stories. Step by step, you built your English. And more importantly, you built your confidence. There is one truth you must carry forward. You don't need permission to speak. You don't need to wait until you are perfect. Your voice is ready now. Use it in real life, every day. Now imagine your future one last time. You are in a new place. You meet new people. You speak naturally. You understand easily. You are no longer thinking, "What should I say?" You are simply speaking. This is the result of every small step you took. But remember, this journey continues. There will always be new words, new expressions, new situations. And that's the beauty of language. It grows with you. So keep exploring, keep speaking, keep learning, and never forget where you started. Because that beginning gave you strength. That struggle gave you courage. And that courage brought you here. So now don't stop. Go out into the real world and use your English. Speak to someone. Start a conversation. Share your thoughts. Tell your story. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Grow stronger every day. Because this is not just about learning a language. This is about changing your life. And the moment you choose to speak, truly speak, that is the moment everything begins. Now something subtle but powerful begins to happen. You are no longer translating in your mind. You hear English, and you understand it directly. You speak, and the words come more naturally. This is the transition from learning to living the language. At this stage, conversations are no longer something you prepare for. They are something you experience. You react in real time. You respond with feeling, not just structure. Imagine someone says, "That was a long day." You don't think about grammar. You simply say, "Yeah, it really was." This is natural fluency. Now let's explore deeper conversational flow. You are talking with someone, and instead of short answers, you begin to expand your thoughts. You say, "I was planning to finish my work early, but things got a little busy, so I had to stay longer." This is not complex English. It is connected English. You are linking ideas smoothly. Fluency grows when your sentences connect naturally. Now imagine a moment where humor enters the conversation. Someone says, "I almost forgot my keys again." You smile and say, "Looks like you need a reminder system." Both of you laugh. Humor is a sign of comfort in a language. It shows you are not just speaking, you are participating. And participation is the heart of real communication. Now let's go into expressing uncertainty naturally. Instead of stopping, you say, "I'm not completely sure, but I think it's this way." This keeps your flow alive. Or you say, "Let me try to explain." This gives you time while keeping control of the conversation. Mastery is not about always knowing. It is about always continuing. Now imagine a deeper discussion. Someone asks, "Why do you think learning English is important?" You respond, "I think it opens more opportunities and helps people connect from different backgrounds." You are now expressing ideas, not just sentences. This is the level where language becomes thinking. Let's talk about natural fillers. Native speakers often say, "Well, you know," or "I mean." These are not mistakes. They are part of natural speech. For example, you say, "Well, I think it depends on the situation." This sounds more natural than a direct answer. But use them gently. Clarity always comes first. Now imagine a situation where you need to explain something clearly. You say, "Let me explain step by step." Then you break your idea into simple parts. Clarity is the true sign of mastery. Not big words, not fast speech, clear meaning. When people understand you easily, you are fluent. Now let's move into emotional intelligence in conversation. Someone shares something important. You listen fully. You respond with care. You say, "That must have been difficult." This kind of response builds trust, and trust creates deeper conversations. Now imagine yourself in a new country, speaking with confidence. You walk into a place and say, "Hi, I'm new here. Could you help me with something?" There is no fear, because you know you can handle the conversation. That confidence comes from every step you took before. Now let's talk about rhythm. English has a natural rhythm. Some words are stressed more than others. When you listen carefully, you start to feel this rhythm. And when you speak with that rhythm, your English sounds more natural. Fluency is not just words, it is music. Now imagine telling a longer story without stopping. You say, "So yesterday, I was on my way home, and I saw something really interesting." And you continue smoothly. You don't worry about small mistakes. You focus on the story. This is real storytelling flow. Now reflect again. You started with "Hi," and now you can express ideas, emotions, stories, and opinions. That is not a small change. That is a complete transformation. And you created it through consistent effort. There is one final shift. Stop thinking of yourself as a learner completely. Start seeing yourself as a speaker who is still improving. Because that is who you are now. A speaker, a communicator, a voice. From here, growth becomes limitless. You can improve pronunciation, vocabulary, expression, and confidence continuously. But the foundation is already strong, and that foundation will carry you forward.